Hi guys, and welcome to Lizzie Dean Makes. I'm Lizzie Dean, and this is the channel where we make, mend and grow our way to a big life on a small budget. Hi guys, so today I am going to be making zero waste pizzas. So I usually make pizza dough and freeze it in plastic freezer bags in balls of dough, and then we get them out, defrost them and make pizzas up, or we buy pizzas pre-made. We like pizza a lot, and we have it a couple of times a week normally. We eat it a lot, so I need to find a zero waste alternative to our current setup for pizzas. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make up the dough, and then I'm going to cut the pizzas to fit inside one of my biggest Tupperwares, and then I'm going to layer them. So I'm going to do a pizza, make it up, freeze it, then stick it in the box, put some parchment paper and do the next one on top. I am going to use parchment paper for now because I've got parchment paper that needs using up, and waxed paper versus waxed cloth seems to me much of a muchness. So I'm not going to bother making anything special for this. I'm just going to use some parchment paper, and I'm going to cut the parchment paper also to fit the Tupperware. So it's a big 3 litre square Tupperware from Morrison's, and I'm going to fill that with several layers of pre-made vegetarian pizzas. Pizza is one thing we don't go vegan on because of the cheese aspect. We tried a lot of vegan cheese, but because my husband's allergic to nuts, there are a lot of them that we can't use and we can't have in our house. So the only really ones that we could find around here were coconut milk cheeses, and they didn't melt very nicely. So there was either one that was a sort of ricotta type, very runny cheese, but it was far too sweet. I found the taste really horrible. And there were also some sort of cheddar alikes, but they were cheddar alike when they were cold at room temperature, you know, that sort of consistency, but not when they melted. So we couldn't find anything that really worked out for us, so that's why we decided to carry on eating dairy cheese. We're very lucky in this area that we have got an awful lot of dairy farms and cheese manufacturers. So the Cotswold Cheese Shop in Burford, there's delis all around here, so there's ones in Witney and Bampton and all over the place that have Cotswold cheeses in them. So it's quite easy for us to find locally sourced organic cheese. It's not really a problem, so we are going down that route. So if you're vegan, switch this up with your own vegan cheese. I think a lot of the almond milk cheeses are supposed to be the best vegan cheeses. Unfortunately, we can't have them in the house, so that's that. I'm going to get started. The washing machine is on, so I've closed the door, but you can still probably hear it, so I'm not going to talk through this. I'm just going to go. I'll put the recipe for pizza dough, which is a BBC Good Foods recipe. I'll put the link to that in the description box below, and I'm going to crack on. Okay, so I finished making the pizzas now. So I've layered them up with a sheet of parchment paper, then a pizza, then a sheet of parchment paper, then a pizza, all the way up, and filled the box. I've also got some dough left over that I have just frozen. I'm going to be making some oilcloth freezer bags probably tomorrow, which I've sewn up the actual cloth bags, and then tomorrow I'm going to be turning those into oilcloth for freezer bags, but for now I've just frozen it in some plastic freezer bags. That is the last of my stash almost. I've got a couple left to go. My husband's plating up our pizza in the kitchen, so you can hear that, sorry. So in order to make sure that everything was frozen and separatable afterwards, I laid each pizza out on its own sheet of parchment paper onto metal baking trays and put those in the freezer for 10-15 minutes until they'd firmed up, and then put them into the plastic container, one on top of the other, so they'd already sort of solidified, frozen, before the next one was stacked on top, so they didn't sort of stick to each other or compress each other down and sort of squish themselves. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and drop any comments below of any zero waste food swaps that you've had to make from processed foods, and if you've got any ideas for future videos that you would like to see. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.